A recent blog by our very own Nile, College Relationships and the Numbers Game, actually questions whether it should be a game at all. Nile, you actually write, this numbers game plays a major factor in the ways in which college students develop sexual relationships and maturity. Now, instead of sexual choices being based on level of comfort and feelings for the individual, they become strategic moves based on the numbers game. Nile, why did you write this blog?
Well, I just felt like it was something that really wasn't being talked about nearly enough. And I think that there's a lot of conversations around college and sex on college campuses, but I didn't feel like anyone was really addressing the broader impact of these types of pressures that college students feel. And I think there's a lot of people are talking about, whether women and men have the right to, sleep with whoever they want or what that means. But I think there's a lot more pressure and a lot bigger repercussions of those actions and those discussions.
And Annalise, what say you?
I think it's actually a very interesting thing to look at, the numbers game. I personally made this huge map on my wall that kind of explained everything, and I encourage my readers to do the same thing in a column that I wrote a little while back as well. And I feel like you shouldn't have to justify who you sleep with or how many people you're with or aren't with to anyone but yourself.
Well, it's different frequently. Niall, I want you to jump in here. What are you about to say, our resident man?
Oh, no, well, I mean, it's kind of messed up, but, even in the stock market, what gives something its value is how many people want it. And so I think that's what the number game play into is, sometimes women aren't only interested in how a man hunts. I think Patrick Neal Harris said it, if I lose my ability to hunt, then you lose interest in me. So I think it goes along the lines of that. So when you have a nice number, it does impress a lot of people.
But here's the thing, who's to prove these numbers? I can totally tell you I've slept with 300 people. You have no way of knowing whether or not this is acceptable, whether this is real or not. I can tell you I slept with 2 people. Who knows?
Right.
How do we quantify? And that's actually, Niall, go ahead.
Well, it's kind of funny.
I think part of the reason...
Oh, no, go ahead.
I think part of the reason... Okay. I think part of the reason that I wrote the blog was because I feel like who you sleep with and that number of people is a really private thing, and it really doesn't necessarily matter to anyone but yourself and whoever else you're sleeping with. And I think because of the kind of vacuum of communication that's created in college between you and your peers, it becomes something that's very public when it's really not anyone else's business, nor does it matter. And to be judged on something like that from outside is so much less significant than how you feel about it on the inside as a person. And that's really what, in the quote that you guys pulled, that's really what I was saying, is that that's something that should come from inside of yourself and what you're comfortable with, not, worrying about the outside pressures that you're being subjected to.
It's a good point. And one of the outside pressures seems to be, in my day, my old day as a 32-year-old, we dated. And it seems like, Annalise, when's the last time you actually went on an actual date?
Last night, but I can't really reveal who with. It's definitely not okay.
Why is it not okay?
I go on a lot of dates, but sometimes you go on dates with people that are, society deems to be forbidden based on their position of power over you within a specific environment. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without giving away who it is, but yeah.
What about you, Tariq? Are you still dating, or are you just in hookup central?
No, I would like to say a combination of both. I don't know, I haven't said date in years. I think when I first started trying to go out with people, I said date, but now the safe word is hang out. It's okay to hang out, because you can't get mad when someone says no to hanging out. All right, it was just we're just gonna watch Scandal or something. It's not that bad.
I hate that. I feel like that just leads to the let's watch a movie couch sex. That hang out.
Which is the best, but
It is, but I mean, I think that kind of adds to the dialogue that we in our culture seem to have, where we don't want to talk about sex for being what it is or dating. And we seem to think that they have to be together. And why can't you date people and then also have people on the side that you have sex with? Provided that everyone that's involved knows that you're not committed to one specific person and that you're being safe.
Now weigh in here. What I want to know from your perspective now, what even constitutes a date in college? Is it booby and couch sex? Is it
I had a guy take
food?
me to Yogurtland and buy me a bottle of Andre, which is $4.99 champagne freshman year of college, and I thought it was the best date I had ever been on. So there's definitely, I definitely think it's changed what a date means, and I definitely think in college that's something me and my friends talked about all the time. Was like, our parents would always my mom would buy me a new dress and be like, this would be perfect for a date. And I'm like, that's never happens.
Right.
So I think that, and it's not necessarily, I mean, like I was in relationships in college and like we grab in and out at night, but like it wasn't, there's definitely not the same culture of kind of courting someone. And I think it's really rare that you would go out with someone on a date to dinner that you didn't know or already know that you were interested in being in a relationship with. I think mostly the only dates that I've really been on, or at least that I went on in college, were with people that I already was basically dating. So I definitely think that the culture of dating and courting people has kind of disappeared in the college scene.
I have to
There's
ask,
definitely-
after the yogurt and the $4.99 Andre, did this relationship accumulate into something sparkly?
Wow.
Well, we did. We were already basically dating at this point. So, I mean, it definitely was not like in the process of trying to get me in to date or in bed or anything, which is probably why I thought it was so special. But I mean, at that point, we were pretty much already in a relationship. So.